Welcome back. Well, today I'm joined by Dr. Tidwell, who is here on behalf of Golden Coast Dermatology. Well, welcome back. It's nice to see you again.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. And boy, a lot of good information. And we were talking offline before we came on, and I just wanted to be clear about some of these things because I know so many people have lots of questions, especially about chronic rashes or rashes that are unexplainable. So let's talk about some of those rashes and what do you do to help people identify them?
Sure. A lot of times we see rashes that make it to us as the dermatology where someone says, I've had this rash for years. I thought it was this. I thought it was fungus. I thought it was this. And I've tried 10 things and nothing clears it up. And when that happens, we start to work it out. We look at other things and other options. Allergy is a big problem in skin that people often under-identify, and that's either a dandruff or a jewelry or something. Your community is very active, and we find a lot of rubbers or with the golf clubs or something like that you're coming in contact with, and we can test it. If it's immediate and there's a really bad rash, we can do a little skin biopsy, which we send a few cells to the lab and they identify it. But what we do a lot of times for people who have chronic rashes, chronic itching, is something called allergic patch testing. That's where we take 80 of the most common things, that changes every year, that the North American Contact Dermatitis Society comes up with. And we put that on your back on a large sticker. And we put that sticker on Monday, take it off Wednesday, and get the results on Friday. And we're able to identify what you're allergic to, where that is. And that really helps a lot of our patients cure a rash or an itching that's gone on for years. So we are really, really happy to introduce that and do that here.
Well, and I saw that it was an allergy patch testing. How long has that been around as opposed to the needling that used to be?
So there is the needling, and that's often done by allergy immunologists. And needling tests what comes from the outside, from the inside out. So if you eat a food and something's in your stomach, if you breathe something, something's in your lung causing problems, hives, swelling, angioedema, something like this can sometimes happen. What we test for are things that in your environment that are coming in contact with you from the outside in. So that's more rash. And the benefit to the patch testing too is no sticking, no pain. It's just a sticker that's on your back and we take it off and we get the results. So it's a kind of a different thing they're testing for, but one of the main advantages is it's not painful.
Right. So how would someone know if the rash is coming from inside or outside? Is there a difference in the way it looks?
Sure, often that is. Often if it's something that you eat or come in contact with, it's smooth. It's like a hive that kind of comes on, you start to swell, or you breathe something and you get these hives pop up. Is an oversimplification, but often something I've eaten. I'm allergic to shellfish or whatever that is. If it is something that is you're coming in contact with, often, and again, I'm making it very simple, but often is a rash that's very scaly or very itchy, red, doesn't really go away. So those are kind of a general rule of things. There are always exceptions, but as a general rule, that's how a quick look over.
Okay, well, that's good to know because I think people they'll come to you regardless of whether or not, they know the difference, but nonetheless, at least that's a good guideline for sure.
Yeah.
So let's move on to, being active, staying young, feeling young, and it goes along with it is actually looking young. And I think everybody would love to do that, but maybe they just don't really know all of the things that are available to them. So tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. Well, there are a lot of different treatments out there. And then often people think if they're not 20 or in Hollywood or something, it's not for them. And that's not true. People do get afraid too because they've seen folks who've either had a large burn or an accident with a laser or too much filler to look artificial. And that's not what we do. We are aging gracefully. One of the things that we do the most popular is a chemical peel. And so people, in the 90s, 80s, 70s, things would see this. They'd almost get these chemical burns rather than a chemical peel and see their face was red, scaly for months. And that's not really the modern approach to it. And some chemical peels are even paid for by Medicare. If you have sun damage, precancers, the actinic keratoses, that Medicare actually does cover chemical peels for medical indications. So there are a lot of options out there. You don't have to get a chemical burn. Chemical peels are, you're a little red for the rest of the day. Maybe like the next day, it looks like you have a little sunburn, and your skin will just come off not as a cocoon or a giant peel where you look weird or bruised, but more like coffee grinds in the shower. And then after a day or two, you feel your skin being fresh, rejuvenized. And again, we're not doing the you look radically different or duck lips or these things like this. It's simply say, hey, you look like, a good night's sleep, or take the year back a little bit, or get rid of a brown spot. That's our goal.
So when you talk about the peels, now there's a variety of different things that you could use, and we had talked about this beforehand, a Jesner's peel, which really is sort of a liquid that you put on and then you keep it on. But then you also mentioned that there's some new stuff out there that's replacing some old things. Microneedling?
Sure, microneedling is really popular. There's the traditional microneedling that some people see and can do at home. You can get some on Amazon for a very simple device. Then you have more of a medical grade one that's in medical offices. And there's even this newest one, microneedling with RF. So that's radio frequency. And that adds a little heat or a little energy to cause even more tightening. I also really enjoy combining microneedling with a chemical peel to get even a deeper rejuvenation of the skin, to take away brown spots, to take away wrinkles. And again, it doesn't have the same downtime. So there was the old lasers like a CO2 laser where we would do those where I trained in San Diego, and people would have to be checked into a hotel next door for a few days because it was just very painful, lots of redness, lots of peeling, great results. But downtime is something people don't want to do anymore, particularly when there's alternatives out there that don't require much downtime rather than just simply a little red for the next day. So we're minimally invasive, highly effective techniques are really what's taking over.
So talk to me a little bit about somebody who may be on blood thinners or maybe have a thinning of the skin. Can you still do those types of procedures?
Absolutely. The whole world seems to be on a blood thinner now. And that's just part of as the drugs become more powerful, helping prevent strokes, heart attacks, and we live longer. So that's something we deal with on, I would say, 80% of the Medicare population is on a blood thinner, and should be when you talk to cardiologists, and that's a good thing. But that doesn't impact what we do at all, particularly dermatology offices. We're able to control that. We expect it. And thinning of the skin or atrophy comes with time and aging and sunshine. And a lot of these cosmetic treatments are actually there to help with that, to help strengthen the skin, rejuvenate it, get a different coat of fresh skin to grow over scaly, tired, aged skin. So we are in the business of getting skin rejuvenized and healthy again.
Even under the eyes?
Even under the eyes. So the eyes is almost like the holy grail of trying to get the dark circles under. We all have it, especially after we don't get a good night's sleep.
Right.
And I've found that, doing a series of lightning peels has helped me. So you talked about Jesner's, which has resorcinol, which is actually what's in wine to have anti-aging, antioxidant properties. So that's one we can do under the eyes. I like salicylic acid peels too, because they're very lightening. So we can combine them. And I'm an old chemical engineer before I went to medical school. So I have a special interest in kind of doing the chemistry back there, making our peels for people's specific skin. But yeah, under the eyes is something we do a lot of. Everyone wants that. But I really like a combination of Jesner's, which has the healing, anti-aging properties, with the lightning peel to clear away some of that pigmentation that we all hate.
Oh, well, that's excellent news. And then lastly, let's talk a little bit about a routine. So, skincare routines can be exhausting when you look online or you hear about the latest and greatest, some infomercial, and, there's a lot of hype. And I don't think anybody really wants to sit there and do 7 different methods or 7 different bottles. Maybe you can kind of condense it and give us just a couple of ideas of things that we should consider on a regular routine.
Sure, I feel the same way too. And I walk down the aisle at Target and blasted, even the lighting's different in the aisle. And you feel almost self-conscious looking at these models there. So the best skincare routine is one that actually works, one that you stick with, one that you can do. If you go buy 10 things, if tea tree oil and all these things that sound cool or have some sort of salesman there, but you don't use it, that's not great. So the basics would be, especially here in California, is every morning wear a sunscreen. If you can remember to wear a hat before you go play golf or tennis or walk the dog, that's great. but a sunscreen in the morning and a moisturizer at night. Those are the basics that if you can just do those and stick to that, you will really help. And a really important part of a skincare routine is looking yourself over. If you see a spot that isn't healing, something that doesn't look right, something that's growing, changing, don't wait. Get that looked at, get that seen quickly. And that's really very key to do in those skincare routines. So if you use sunscreen in the morning, moisturizer at night, and when something looks wrong, give us a call. That is the basics that will help prevent 99% of problems for you.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time, and we'll share with everybody the contact information they can get in touch with you.
Sure. Thanks for having us today.
All right. We'll see you again.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And we'll be right back after this.